today's going to be an exciting idea today episode because for some reason, I think I know why, we'll talk about it. Disney decided to release those episodes of Daredevil Born Again. And although I realized halfway through this viewing that my Princess Mononoke viewing and IMAX started at 7 p.m. So I just sit through it, keep on going, and today, ladies and gentlemen, we're here to discuss and talk about Daredevil Born Again, episode 5, 6. Well, we're still moving, right? We have this interesting concept of I don't know what you want to call this, a civilian recognition of the unbalancements in the judicial system, which is very well done for Daredevil, right? I mean, it's with the story, it comes with the territory. But respect, because we start off St. Patrick's Day. In case you guys had a good weekend, I hope you guys had fun out there doing good stuff. The homie and I were out, and now we're gonna go out this weekend party, so that's gonna be a good time. But yeah, man, fun times for everybody, including Mr. Murdoch, who is out there and goes to the bank to try to get a bit of a loan or better payments or whatever for their firm. And who does he bump into? But Kamala Khan's dad, man. That's pretty cool. Mr. Yusuf Khan himself. That's right, Miss Marvel's pops. So he's there. He's kind of made a nice little cameo. Obviously, that's kind of alluding to how it's all one universe, and we're wink, wink, leaning closer to Marvel's announcement today of Secret Wars. Oh man. So stuff like that. Things are starting to pick up here. I think Marvel feels confident in what they're doing with this show, and it's getting them motivated to keep on going, even if Captain America didn't do as well as they had hoped it would. I saw it. It was okay. Move on. But that's where we're at, right? We got service. It's a vital function, man. That's what Matt tells the bank. He's like, I know we're not really making the liquidity that you people want for your fund numbers and whatnot, but we are the middle class. He almost said it. He almost friggin' said it, but I understood what they're doing there. He said, we are the fucking middle class. We are here to differentiate between the intensity and then the necessity, man. We are a necessity. Please, save the middle class. But, while this is all happening, unfortunately, banks gonna be banks, whatever, New York Mutual, and they don't match the criteria. Matt was like, it's all good. Thanks for being cool about no, ma'am. It was a nice shared drink. Thank you for telling me. Thank you for being honest with me. Hope you have a good night. And then you go to outside, where you understand, of course, it wouldn't be St. Patrick's Day without a party. And I believe 4 armed men ride up into the bank. So here's the fun part. We get a quick little Spider-Man moment with Matt Murdock here, because as he's walking out of the building, he can hear these people getting ready, loading up and getting ready to infiltrate the building. And he makes the conscious decision to walk back inside the building. So, you know, I mean, it's just so interesting, because this dude doesn't crawl on walls, and he doesn't, like, you know, freaking superhero land into like the middle of the building, and just like, he's not invincible. So in this moment, he's like undercover, and he makes a conscious choice to put himself in the line of combat, and he is the middle class. Damn it. So with that in progress, there is a robbery in the bank, and unfortunately, lots of fear, anxiety, people, they need it, they need that solace, and the only one that is able to actually access the banks is the highest up in command, which normally would be the manager, but homie went to Dubai and decided to own up the property over there because they don't charge for taxes. And then they said, next one on the list. Which, plot twist, this had to happen. Of course, it is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. There is no small character. There's no small parts, only small actors. And they pull off the assistant manager, who it happens to be Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan's dad, who happens to be in California. Hi, how's it going? So he can't just be like, hey, Kamala Khan, we got a situation, homie. So that's not how that works. That's what I'm talking about. But that would be pretty awesome. But yeah, so that happens, and man, dude, they're walking a fine line between this being a bank robbery, what do they want, and the hostages, like, obviously trying to stay alive, and how far are these people willing to go to get what they want. So that happens. Matt goes like, yo man, it's gonna be 25 years for murder if you make this a robbery into a homicide. So think about that one, chief. As they they rifle butt him in the gut, and that again, you have this person who is not impervious to these situations. So still speaking with confidence and taking a deep breath and holding in that gut, or flexing that gut punch to receive the punch. He takes it, and that's where that goes, man. But yes, it's plan B time, because he's a smart guy. Matt Murdock, of course, calls the cops, tells them to send police over to the bank. So their secrecy, or their veil of surprise is left uncertain, meaning that cops show up, meaning that this now becomes more of a heated situation, which you might consider that maybe it wasn't a good idea to do that, but at this point we have a system that assumes that these people know what they're doing, so we give them the funding, we give them the privilege, and we give them our trust when they serve our cities. So this is an interesting moment of, if the system can do its job, we try. We want to believe in it. So we have this rookie cop girl trying to talk with the leader of the gang, and she's doing okay. And we have, I remember there's the captain, which is a guy in charge of the SWAT team, who is very energetic and ready to head in. So there's two different types of manners of approaching the situation, if you will. Can't really say which was right, because people gonna people. But as that's happening, their plan B is to ask for a P-van to escape out of there. As you know, quid pro quo. So the rookie cop's idea is, in order to make them cooperate, have a sort of sense of communication, we ask for two hostages to be released as a sign of good faith, which is interesting, because hostage situations, we're getting a little bit into it. I don't know if we've seen a lot of these kind of moments represented this well, but it's pretty interesting to see how this moves, even if it is still comic booky and obviously not down to earth. It gives you an insight of, like, what is the deal, what is happening, what can be done, where are these solutions or pathways to an understanding, quote unquote. So yeah, that's happening there. And man, easy way out, obviously. Send the blind guy out. Easy way out. Matt Murdock could just be like, yeah man, I'm blind, I'm good, I want to go home. But he doesn't, because unfortunately they pick a lady and separate from the husband. So the husband's like, no, get out of here, wife, I was about to call her baby girl. Wife is like, no, we just got married. I don't want to go. So like, obviously, there's this kind of sense of meh. Matt Murdock again puts his head on the table, and yeah, gives up his freedom basically. He's like, I know what you're doing. You don't need to pity me. I'm cool, man. Just let the couple go. And after a bit of conversation, a little bit of an interplay, shall we say, again between the lead hostage holder leader and Murdoch. That's the skills of a lawyer right there. Good stuff. Able to converse with this opposite member of a group and still find a way to make it happen. End of the day, Murdoch goes like, don't worry, mate. I'm an orphan. I'm also an orphan. It's all good. And yeah, just lets it happen. So yeah, thankfully the couple, happily married, just married. Bon voyage. But then, Blue takes the assistant manager, Kamala Khan's dad, downstairs, exactly as it means to be, yeah. And Red takes Matt Murdock, who's like, yo, I gotta use the restroom. So I gotta get out, I gotta go. He's like, no. So yeah, that's pretty smart. Things are boiling down to the full minute as we have the red guy escorting Matt out. You see Matt already doing his math in his head, and my biggest kind of like question and how they were gonna make this flow through was if Murdoch has not been a vigilante for the past couple of weeks, months, etc. Is he still in shape? Like, can he still actually throw a punch and have that mean something? I guess if you know centrifugal force, then you could probably make it happen, no matter what. But yeah, man, because obviously, in order to be on that level, you have to maintain that level. So if Murdoch was seriously like, no, I'm good with Daredevil, I would expect him to not be on that level anymore. But if he is on that level, then maybe there is that shred of like, ooh, can't let go of the devil. And if I'm just giving the showrunners too much credit and they didn't put any thought into this, then hey, good for you, Marvel. I liked it. So, or I have questions. So that's there. Yeah, so Mr. Murdoch himself takes off his tie and goes full Assassin's Creed mode and just goes for the sleeper hold, tries to make it happen, knocks his shotgun out of his hand, which is a good thing. However, shotgun starts tilting away, and if that shotgun hits the ground, then you can bet it will ricochet and then like buckshot. It'll like it'll make it fire, and that would alarm everyone in the building. So that was a cool little moment of intensity as you see Murdoch go in for the leg choke, gets him by the neck, and then throw his hand out to catch the shotgun that was about to fall through. So very intense, very fun, cool stuff. Still in his workman clothes, so putting that happen. And that's it, man. So he does, okay. Thankfully, Murdoch able to meet up with Kamala Khan's dad. His name's Yusuf, by the way. I know his name. I'm just being funky about it. And he's like, at the end of the day, we're trying to figure out what are they going for? Because as someone mentioned upstairs, all the bank deposits are actually just drop boxes, which is more of you think of it as like a jewelry box that the bank holds on to for you. So yes, you can leave stuff in there, but interesting thoughts. Matt Murdock looks at the big ass vault door and goes like, have you ever heard of a game called The Last of Us? Did you know there's a part 2 at HBO coming out soon now? Anyways, interesting. He puts his ear to the lock mechanism and he does the thingy that we did for The Last of Us Part 2. Playthrough is available on YouTube, go check that out, good stuff. And he goes for it. He does it. He does the thing. I'm pretty damn sure that the showrunners looked at The Last of Us and were like, damn, we can do that. We can do that. So I appreciate it. That was kind of cool. And yeah, opens the door, swings it open. Yep, sure enough, no money, just pure safe deposit boxes, safe boxes. So luckily, guy was able to find the key. They both look into it. Yusuf is able to use his managerial key, uses both keys to unlock box number 407. What is up in 407? Fascinatingly enough, bright orange stone, which I've heard things. I'm thinking of things, but if I can be speculational, I think that's one of those like distortional alternative universe time frames from the TVA, basically. Something to do with that type of energy, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, man, for that, let's do it for Kamala, he says. And we do it. And things get very heated. What was her name? Her stand-up amateur hour for the hostage situation lady. Poor guy. And TLDR, don't fudge the penguins, man, even if you're Irish. There are no Irish nuns. Leprechaun nuns, I think, was a joke. So yeah, things exceed, people are ready, and the SWAT captain guy goes like, it's time, we go in now. Countdown begins. And Murdoch is able to hear all this like happening, like the SWAT team being like, no, we're going in, we're going in. And so he gets Yusuf, and both of them, the two of them go upstairs again, able to kind of like go back with the crowd. Gets kind of threatened because out of nowhere you got this blind guy and the assistant manager coming back by themselves. Like, what happened to the other guys? But Murdoch, and I thought they were gonna do something cool like this, and I'm just so excited / impressed that they actually did it. That when SWAT team starts counting from 10 to 1, at the 3 mark, I believe, the hostage holder guy, gang leader guy, is talking to Murdoch, and Murdoch goes like, "No, man, you're looking for this." And the guy goes like, "God, how do you know you? How do you know? How do you have that?" It's crazy. It was cool. It was pretty damn cool. He's like, "Ah, shit, I'm gonna count to 3, or I'm gonna shoot this gun, blah blah blah." And Murdoch can hear. It's so stupid, but it works, man. It lines up with the countdown of the SWAT break-in or invasion, and you see at number 2 or 1, right? Murdoch goes like, "Here, catch it." He fucking tosses the little rock in the pouch to the dude. Dude goes like, "Yeah," and then the SWAT team breaks in. It's good, man. It's really good. I'm surprised how well it worked out. And it's supposed to be campy, but like, because it's a comic book hero or superhero movie or comic book TV show, but it actually really worked. And that was pretty well done, man. I don't know if I've seen a hostage situation, but that's pretty well done. Like recently, right? But that was as far as hostage situation goes, that was pretty intense and well done, I think. So hey, as far as that happens, they get swatted, bam. And so you see this dude has the mafia guy, now that he has the stone, he is able to actually hand off the stone to a hidden mob member or gang member, which was actually part of the civilians that were being held hostage. So you never know. You never know. Gives it to her and he goes like, "Give this to Luca." What's Luca? We will find out in the future, I assume. But yeah, there you go. Hostage situation. Cool. During the commotion, the main gang member is able to kind of take an officer out, and take their uniform, switch it out. He goes full Hitman 47, Agent 47, and he starts taking it off. And he would make it. He would have made it happen. He would have been home free had he not bumped into Matt Murdock, Daredevil. Because you can hear this, both of them go by. He hears the handoff of the stone, and he decides to go after Cop Man himself. But first, he puts on, what was it, the red mask. So the guy that took him to go take a leak, he was able to take that mask, and then, you know, he's able to use that during the day to keep his identity secure and all that. But yeah, we get the first fight of the day. Well, we get the final fight of the day, Cop Man. And this is where I kind of get interested, because I do feel like, I'm probably giving them way too much credit, but I do feel that the show addressed my question of how rusty or how out of shape is Murdock in this moment. Because I think it's been 6 months, maybe more, since he hasn't been Daredevil. And you gotta assume that this guy is pretty not used to doing this, or jumping around, doing flips, and just even like, like doing his thing. And from what I could see, he was looking sluggish. He was looking slower, and it looked like he was kind of like, oh man, it's been a minute. So I think that really worked out. That was kind of cool to see him have to level up again. If you're thinking of it in terms of a game status, like you start the new game, you start number 3, but you have to downscale your character, so you start from a level 1, even though you're supposed to be like this super huge, intense character that did shit in number 1 and all that. Anyways, you get it. But yeah, so you see them, they go at it for a cool minute. And man, I don't know, man. Matt really lets go for a good second. I think he really had to kind of step it up, because he was losing ground on that one. And yeah, he decides to go for it. Throws him against, well, he gets his shin first. Like you hear the first crack, right? It probably like does some kind of like messed up crack thing, broke a shin or something. And then he tosses him to the other side, so he falls over. He's leaning on the railing, and freaking Murdock, man, I don't know, man, jumps in the air and does a power bomb on his shin, breaking his freaking leg. Oh my god, oh, it's pretty intense. But they did it. TVMA, dayo. So that's that. Ripperino. And leg breaker. And yeah, you might be asking yourself, but hey, didn't he still give them the stone? Didn't Matt Murdock lose the bag? The bag? It's fucking Daredevil. Because you see, I think you see the homegirl. You pan over to the homegirl. He's looking at the bag and he's like, oh yeah, this is for Luca or whatever. It's for Luca. He pulls it out, and it's a hard butterscotch candy that Yusuf, aka Kamala Khan's dad, aka Miss Marvel, had on his office table. He's like offered him some. So Matt Murdock, big brain. He says only one thing left to do. A few days later, he's able to go back to the bank and just shoot the shit with Yusuf for a bit. He's like, yeah, I just came and check up on you. I know we can't do much about the loan, but thanks for being cool. And Yusuf is like, yeah, well, hey, you never know. Maybe we get together and we find strategies of making your business more profitable, which, you know what? That's a good way to put that one. So, good stuff. Oh, wait. Very fun times. Yusuf goes like, yeah, man, they never found the stone, but that's cool. I'll see you later. Murdock takes his leave, and Yusuf is like, yeah, it's candy, man. I will take, or Murdock goes like, I'll take one of these, thanks, man. And he just goes like, oh, sure, I'll take one of these too. And he looks in the little pile, and sure enough, a little time stone himself right there. because a good Samaritan always knows. But give them a little look of like, yo, this guy. But yeah, that was that for episode 5. That's where that episode ends. So a nice little moment, not for the hostages, but for trying to get an idea of where Murdoch is in this timeline in terms of like, oh, done with the Daredevil, done with messing around, like, just want to be a lawyer, man. Just want to do my business and get this shit done. And you know, he's a main character, so unfortunately the plot always finds the main character. So he has to deal with these things as he does. But hey, man, we all get to carry our own crosses, Dio. So interesting stuff. Episode 5, we see cute little nods to Kamala Khan. Now I'm actually very interested in a Daredevil meetup with Miss Marvel and or a Peter Parker, which actually will not happen soon, maybe, because as we mentioned earlier in today's episode, Marvel just announced the Avengers Secret Wars lineup, and we don't have to watch it. I mean, I don't think we do, but it's there. We have the lineup of the actors. Their acting chairs are all lined up, and you can have a Pamela can, all leading up to Tony Stark, or all leading up to Robert Downey Jr., who just goes like, who does like that? And yeah, we're kind of just assuming that he's gonna be Doctor Doom, because that's what he showed up as Comic-Con as. So already we have plans in motion to show the next phases of Marvel, whatever that means to be. I feel like they have good steam with Daredevil. They're excited about this. They're seeing that people are interested. I think people are interested, and hopefully they can find that sauce that really makes this feel more, maybe ground level, but maybe more relatable. I think relatable is what we're looking for here. And yeah, so it's very slapping. Maybe they can find that kind of energy and bring it into the Secret Wars, and that would be cool in my opinion, and I'll look forward to that. But hey, let me know what you think. Good stuff is what I would say, but I guess we're going for the long term. Daredevil episode 6. Forget everything I said about Matt Murdock being Matt Murdock, because more than anything else, he is a Marvel character, and Marvel characters have superheroes in them, and superheroes always have problems. So we start the day off with excessive force, and we're back to the BB report. Something I should mention is that in episode 5, we do not have any mention of the BB report. There is no on the ground with the people relations when it comes to that moment. It is just Matt Murdock and his relation with Kamala Khan's dad and the situation. Just thought that was kind of interesting to point out. Yeah, BB record, back to the BB record, same old bullshit, different day. Once we have one side of the city saying that vigilantes are working with bad people to destroy the city, and then we have another side saying that the vigilantes are helping the people in the city, like someone helped someone out. So, or we had the fun viral video of, what was it, Sword Guy? He called him Sword Guy. You get him, Sword Guy? And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. So it's interesting to see people are out there doing stuff, and we find a body, but not just any body with eyes. And if we know anything about eyeless bodies, is that there's a person with a creepy eye mask out there, and their name is Muse. Whoa! Muse is a fairly popular Daredevil villain. So that's that. I don't really know much about them, save for the idea that they are creepy people, and I'd rather not have them in the city. But we'll get back to them. All we need to know is that they're up to something fun for them. And yeah, so we panned over to Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, and we focus on his real Daredevil morning routine. It's just prayer. He's praying. He wakes up in the morning, he's praying, man. Which is again, it's a good way to reflect on your daily task and your motivations and your life. So that's what that's for. Does that, gets a little joked on by his girlfriend, which goes like, "Oh, maybe you can get me to talk to the Punisher," which I'm like, huh. Oh. So we'll see how that goes. But Le Punisher. Meanwhile, she goes to work. But meanwhile, Wilson Fisk is tired of black tie events. What does that mean? It means that he's not a people person. So why the fuck are you mayor? Fisk. So quote unquote, he's like, nah, I don't want to do these events. Pretty much. But he does have a visitor, an uninvited guest, is what I want to call her Wanda Sykes because she reminds me of Wanda Sykes, but that's very rude. She just has that voice, and she's missing the curly hair, but she kind of has that vibe of Wanda Sykes. I don't know. If you ever watched her old show, you would know, or you would get it, I guess. But she's out there, and she's like, "Oh, you have a uninvited or a person waiting for you in your office." And who is it? But an old friend. By an old friend, I mean an old mob person, which is interesting because we have this person who knows who Fisk really is and quote unquote old friend in the mayor oral office and being like, "Yo man, TLDR, you're old man. Stay out of the game." And Fisk takes that very, very well. So he does creative things. He just takes it very, very well. But yeah, old friends know, man. He's like, basically, the guy goes like, "We know, man. Look at all these books. You have not read any of them. Look at this suit. Look at this place. It must be a, what does he call it? It must be like a stage or something. Like this is all a show. Like this ain't you, dog. We know who you are. Like stop pretending like you care." So it's pretty rough. Cause yeah, old friends know who he really is. But yeah, poor dude. He's having a good time and he's like, "Yeah, salty. Let's get him out of here." Whoa. Interesting question. Why do we revere the mask? Somebody asked that. Some people call it taboo. It hides a taboo. Some people think that it reveals our true self, and others think that it brings us back to an animalistic state. Because what is Matt is doing something while Fisk is happening, and yeah. Oh yeah, cool. That is the question that Matt Murdock's girlfriend is trying to answer in her new book, I think it was, and that's why she wants to interview the Punisher. So that's kind of an interesting moment here, where he's like, "All right, well now we need to figure out what else we can exploit." But if it's a good page that helps people, then maybe you should talk to the Punisher, because that guy looks like he could use some help. Hey, however, something that could always use more help is the city of New York. Because if you haven't noticed, there's been a lot of new murals going up in New York. And people have not known who this is, who has been putting them up, but now we're getting a name. And that name is Muse. Bad news. Because there's a new piece that says "Kiss," and it has a donkey, I guess, or like some kind of pig or whatever, "My porkers," and then Fisk at the end. So it's pretty there. And this problem with this graffiti art is we hear from the wall sprayer painter guy Very important. You got to use a 50-50 sand solution because then the sand will basically erode off whatever thing is there. However, guy goes, "It ain't working, boss. It's blood." Woo. Very bad. No bueno. Blood is what Muse is using to paint murals around the town. So he's literally painting the town in blood. Poetic, romantic, disgusting. Moving on. So yeah, Fisk is very happy about that as well. Things are going well for Fisk. Can you believe it? It's almost like there was supposed to be stress with this job or something. Telephone to you. Because Little Ayala is stressing out, man. Who is Little Ayala? You remember that random character who showed up out of nowhere because we had to progress the plot? She's back. And this time she needs justice for her uncle, which I respect. I do respect that. But yeah, so this kid is back at it. She gets another shot to do her acting gig, and she did better today. Obviously, I'm not trying to clown on the young lady or anything. I'm just, you know, tries to being in the moment, and I feel like this round she was more sold on the idea that her uncle was gone. She needed vengeance, so now we have a plot to work with. Girl really needs help, really wants Murdoch to do something about it. Murdoch goes like, "Listen, kid, I want to help, but I'm just a lawyer, girl." Little one. And little one goes like, "You's right. My uncle told me something once. Said, never rely on others for what you can do for yourself." Wow. And I was like, yeah, sheesh. And she leaves. She leaves. So that's great news, man. It's great news for everybody. She's on the rampage. And yeah, man, so Matt kind of left with that idea. Hits pretty deep. I think it has obviously some merit to it, you know. If you can't fish, then why would you force someone to do it for you? Or maybe just starve yourself in hopes that someone would do it for you when you could just get up and do it yourself, but maybe you chose not to, or whatever. That's so jumping over to Fisk handling things very well. Why do I say that? Because apparently this man with zero problems with the mayoral seat of New York decides that the police of New York aren't good enough, man. It's almost like they don't care. I'm gonna create my own special task force. I'm gonna be in charge of that task force, and they're gonna work to do my bidding, and they don't need to be recorded, or they don't have to wear body cams, i.e. nobody has to know what we do. And that is how we lose. But hey, it's just a TV show. Easy Money says, "I figured it out. In order to get any people to do whatever you want them to do, you find what a person wants, you hold it, or you provide it. Then they'll do anything." Okay? Okay. I mean, you gotta be part of the game, man. You gotta want to be part of the game. But says the kid is what he's learned in all his universal language and all his universal wisdom out there in the streets, because he's still a street bro. Yeah, man, super streety. And yeah, because because Fisk and his wife have to attend a fancy mayoral party, which essentially is just a show of display of affection for all the rich folks who want to feel like they have power over the city, which, quote unquote, we'll figure it out. Let's just wait until that one happens. Because yeah, man, you have this weird, interesting moment of ego and vanity. and they just want the reassurance of vanity. So as long as they can tell Fisk what they think or what they should do, or make him do something he doesn't want to, then that is enough to validate their ego. And as if they needed anything else, but what what happiness do they even feel? What do they feel? So that's kind of where we're at with that. So poor guys, figure it out without. Rich in the banks, poor in life, in happiness. But hey, Biswix, the big whisk, warned Fisk to follow the rules. He tells them, listen man, this is our table, and you gotta remember that we feed the people in our table. So if you want to be eating at the table, you gotta blame us, yeah. So that's what happens with that. Interesting. He's taking it very, very well. Which is funny. It's just funny because not funny, but it's an interesting little note. I saw what Marvel is doing, or the showrunners are doing with this one. So because Fisk is like doing his thing, and I guess he's stressing out, right? He might be like stress eating or something. I don't know, something like that. But they had a quick little scene where like he's putting on his jacket, and I guess he like pulls on his arm too hard, and it rips the jacket. And he was like, "Oh man, I'm sorry. I guess my jackets don't fit me like they used to." I just like, oh hey, that's a Kingpin reference because in the beginning of the episode, Matt was when they meet up at the bar, right, or the beginning of the series, and Matt looks at Kingpin and he's like, "Oh, you look thin. You sound a little thin. Your step is lighter." And then now his step is getting heavier apparently. So that's interesting. We're getting a little bit of character progression in a very negative way. And yeah, poor guy, he's not feeling it. He kind of has like a moment, and he says, "You know what? Special force time." All right. These high-end society types who are just there to feed their ego and to like throw their weight around are going to have to understand that there's a new sheriff in town, and this sheriff is Wilson Fisk. So Fisk decides to create his own special task force. No body cams. They can work overtime, i.e. overnight, and they are going to be led by Fisk himself. So your own personal militia, huh? But because baby. But yeah, so man, that's kind of what we're dealing with now. We're starting to build up people. Even have that one guy that actually shot Hector Ayala. Oh no, he didn't shoot Hector Ayala. But the guy that went to court against Hector Ayala is actually part of Fisk police force. So you have an idea of the type of people he's recruiting or he needs out there. So hey, that's gonna be something to look forward to in the future. First, BB. Cherry says, "Let us go. Muse lives." And we go back to B reports. Hear some girl, cause baby, he don't feel safe out here. When it goes up. And yeah, man, Miniala, the one person who's still feeling the need, the call of vengeance, i.e. justice, for her uncle Hector, decides to again do her own thing, do what she can for herself. So she goes out at night, and a young lady finds a alleyway, and there's a Punisher graffiti logo on that. Bad part of town, kid. Bad part of town. So Miss Mina Ayala finds Punisher logo. Muse finds Mini Ayala. Fisk finds Adam. Adam is the equalizer. Adam is the mate who, while Fisk was gone, decided that his wife needed some company, and I'm not sure how far one would go to find peace, to justify actions, but I can't believe I'm gonna say this. If you're gonna bang someone's wife, I feel like mano y mano is kind of fair. It is kind of a choice that you have to accept if you're gonna be out there acting potato. And maybe you don't know. Maybe that's something out there that people are sketchy. But if you know, then you know, and you have to accept consequences with choices. So this guy, Adam, has been locked underneath Fisk's basement for a couple of months, I want to assume. Barely kept alive or something. And you see Fisk show up with an axe. So initially you're like, oh shit, he's gonna chop his head off or something. But that's where you're wrong. Because Fisk tells him when he was a younger man, a smaller body or whatever, that he would go up against people 3 times the size. But he realized that a weapon makes for an interesting equalizer. And he gives Adam the axe. It's game on. Bad idea, kid. Bad idea. Because we get 2 fights in one night. Technically 3, but you get it. In one episode. Daredevil fights Muse, and Fisk fights Adam. Daredevil able to track down, or Matthew Murdock gets the call from Miniala's mom, and about to call the police, he remembers what Miniala told him, and he says, "Fudge it." Quote me on that one. And he goes downstairs to put on the Daredevil suit. Wow, he's back. And yeah, man, so we've apparently have been looking for Miniala. Daredevil finds the space. Muse, being very gross, has the poor girl on the table, and I think uses anesthesia so she doesn't wake up, and begins to siphon blood out of her, which again is blood that he uses from he trains all his victims because he trains their blood to paint on the walls. Crazy stuff, but that's where we're at. Poor girl's out there bleeding on the table. Daredevil shows up and punches the Muse guy. They go at it. Adam throws the axe, Wilson Fisk throws the axe to Adam. Adam goes all ham. He's like, this is my chance. My one shot, don't ever lose it. My one opportunity. He's really trying, but honestly, a guy that's malnourished, who hasn't had the practice and who is operating on pure animalistic instincts is not gonna make it happen. So he gets blasted, man. He gets handled by Wilson Fisk himself. Jumping over to Daredevil. Doing some pretty good moves. I think we had a pretty good choreography. I might get in trouble for doing this, but there was a guy that had that earlier. But there was some pretty good choreography in that fight, so I kind of thought that was cool. And he had good little clips. I feel like he moved a little bit more fluid in this round. Because we also have a quick scene of him swinging and jumping through the rooftops, which athletic ability to an extent, you know, keeping it aboard. But yeah, so it's kind of also trying to figure out if he has that mobility still at him. So which I think he's kind of at a 75, because I would have assumed that he wouldn't have a problem taking out Muse, but they kind of went mano a mano for a cool second, and apparently Muse has some moves, man, some skills hidden in those moves. So pretty intense. Go for it. Murdoch goes for the choke hold. He does his little wire and goes for the choke. Gets him, but then realizes that the little girl heart is starting to fade out. So he has to let go of the Muse character. Muse character is choked out on the floor. He books it to the little girl, and he does some intense, not CPR, but first aid, the Heimlich maneuver, technically, or whatever. The chest compressions. So he does that. Goes for the final. And she's back up. That's scary, man. I don't think I would ever want to do that. I think my biggest fear would be like hitting it too hard, and then you do something terrible to the poor person. But yeah, she wakes up, she's breathing, she goes like, Daredevil, Daredevil. And Daredevil busts out a My Hero Academia move. All Might goes, Daijobu, I am here. Daredevil's here. Wilson Fisk, however, sitting in Adam's empty cell. You hear that? No, not benches, the band. Quiet. No more Adam. No more anger. Just a calm wave, knowing that what was his is his. In the middle of the fight, I should add, when he's wailing on him, Fisk starts yelling, mine, which is possessive as fuck, easily. It goes to show what kind of a relationship he has with his wife. And hey man, I'm not gonna yuck on anybody's yams. Sometimes that comes into clutch. But we have a rough relationship here. To go this long and to have this character just boiled down to this simple, barbaric ideal of mine. Okay. But hey, that is your mayor of New York, ladies and gentlemen. And that is the end of both episodes. That's right, episode 5, episode 6. Daredevil, Born Again. Fun stuff, interesting moments. We're starting to pick things up. I feel like we've had all the emotional turbulence, and we've had the character of the characters built, exactly as it sounds. And now we're able to take those characters and put them in the situation of the main issue of Daredevil Born Again. So at this point, I'm starting to believe that we're going to start ramping up the superhero vigilante side of this. We've had Murdoch's life happen. We understand where he's at. We want him to succeed, but we also see that there is a great need in the city. And like Murdoch himself states, service vital. They serve a vital function in a city that needs them. Okay, you gotta do what you gotta do, because that's New York, baby. That's the Big Apple. And this has been your boy, EXP626 Stitch. Here, having fun, being chill, listening to track 2 by Flight by Nothing, having a good time. Thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you around, and I'll see you later. Ciao. Matane.